Warning: this is a Katawa Shoujo playthrough. Some content may be inappropriate for kiddies. Previously on Katawa Shoujo.
Look at that smirk that she has. Look at that smirk. It's just so smirky. That friggin' smirk. I had entirely neglected to take my medications last night or even this morning. Idiot, Ishio. Bad. Why you got the squiggly face? Why you got squiggly face? Squiggly face. Squidward. You're thinking perverted thoughts. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, you come in to our bathroom time, say you want to get into my bath, and then you ask me this question. What do you mean you would be good? Maybe it would be good to slow things down a bit. You know, maybe go out to dinner once. Final word for the evening. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to tell you. Use protection. Every time!
And our story continues.
Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land. Jake at a OneManBand is back again, playing some more Katawa Shoujo. Let's get started. I stand unmoving in front of the door to the nurse's office for what feels like at least a dozen minutes or so. Are you standing in front of the nurse's office for at least a dozen minutes or so? It's not like I never entered the small beige room before, nor is it because of any feeling of childlike ecstasy over the visit. Maybe it's because the nurse's office is akin to a confessional, an admission that my body is flawed. The knowledge that such a fact is kept entirely confidential between the nurse and I hardly lessens the feeling. Oh, but the nurse is a cool guy. We learned that with the last playthrough. Remembering that the bell to signal the end of lunch break will sound soon, I give a sigh and open the door. The burden will stay with me just a while longer. Hello, Mr. Nurse. Well now, if it isn't Nikkei, good to see you. Or bad, I guess, considering that I'm a nurse. He gives a small laugh, amused by his little joke. I feel his humor lacking and somewhat off, but the fact that he can make light of such a situation is perhaps comforting, or at least distracting. Our brief episode of entertainment over, he claps his hands together and gets down to business. I take a seat, and he gestures me to do so. I thought it was gonna say I take off my shirt so he can do some examinations with his stethoscope, but I guess that's not coming quite yet. I wish the classrooms had seats this comfortable. I could feel my mind wandering as my eyes quickly scan the room, distracted by all the small changes since I last came. Well, if the seats were that comfortable, you end up falling asleep in class even more often. Alrighty, so what brings you here? I haven't seen you often, so I assume your health's been good so far. Well, mostly. I see. Okay, it's just my screen. For a moment there, it looked like one of his eyes was like slightly open. It just looks weird. His smile drops as I trail off. I feel slightly guilty about it, but these moments where I can't rationally call myself normal, that makes me reluctant to see the nurse. There's an admission that I'm different from everyone else. While I was on a trip during the long weekend, I had a few problems with my heart. Well, that was because we didn't take the medication, so... He hums very seriously and nods as he does so, urging me to go on. I think it was as I was walking a fairly long distance. I think the right term for it is a heart flutter. I suddenly went weak at the knees. I felt like I was having a small heart attack, but it passed in the next half minute. But after that, I felt pretty fatigued and nauseous. Not good. Not good at all. That was how many days ago exactly? Did you do anything unusual aside from exerting yourself before the episode? Were you taking your medication properly? The nurse switches from awkward jokester to serious health professional mode, rattling off questions, making notes, and calling up stuff on his computer. I tell him about forgetting to take my pills that morning, and the preceding evening. It was a stupid thing to do, but I can't change anything about it now, except answer honestly and bite the bullet. Quite literally. His seriousness evolves into a frown, and the talk evolves into an instant checkup. I finished buttoning my shirt. Oh, well, we missed the whole unbuttoning checkup scene. And again, get mentioned to take a seat in front of the nurse. This is the first heart problem you've had since coming to Yamaku. I've had short pains in my chest before, but just a couple of times, but they were more discomfort than anything like this. He leans back in his chair, briefly resembling a white-coated whatever, as he mulls over the mysterious case of the heart flutter, moving his lips from side to side to show he's thinking, his non-existent mustache wiggling. He eventually comes to a conclusion. I think he'd look good in a mustache. Honestly think so. Well, you survived it. That's always the plus side. I blink at this one, then notice that the nurse is has a gotcha face. Gotcha. It's actually somewhat reassuring. I don't think he would crack jokes of things were really serious, so I keep silent and take my lumps. I'll have a talk with your doctor, but right now I suspect this is simply due to physical exertion. Have you been keeping up your regular light exercise like I directed you to? I make sure to walk a reasonable amount every day. It's usually enough to work up a bit of a sweat, but then again, I'm not really as fit as I used to be. That should be enough then. The main thing to keep in mind is to do regular low-stress exercise, not short bursts of sprinting and such. I understand. Since leaving the hospital, I've been a lot more focused on my studies, partially to take my mind off not being able to do physical things. That's good to hear you're coping well. Sudden lifestyle changes have been can be hard at the best of times. So I'm pleased to hear that you sound like you have everything in order. Almost everything, that is. Nevertheless, I want to keep a close eye on you for a while. Just for observation's sake. Just to make sure things aren't going downhill. You understand? Great, we're gonna have the nurse's special agents getting into our life now. Making sure we're not doing anything. It's something I really didn't want to hear. Since coming to Yamaku, I've always wanted to do is live a normal life as possible. Observation was one of the words that I came to hate during my hospital stay. For so long, I felt as if I could have just walked straight out of the hospital doors, if not for that observation the doctors wanted so dearly. Sure, should I come in more often? He checks the calendar next to his computer, which seems to inflict on him a nasty case of a furrowed brow. He spins back towards me after that. Summer holidays are a bit of a pain, considering the timing. I'll check with your doctor to try to get a better handle on the situation and see how he wants to proceed. But I think you should just take things slowly and carefully for now. What you're describing doesn't immediately sound like a reoccurring event, but it would hurt to slow down a bit but it won't hurt to slow down for a while. Just to make sure. What should I do for today? He looks over my shoulder at the clock hanging over the door. I never have noticed it if I hadn't followed his gaze. It's nearly time for school to be over, so you may have just leave early. He gives a sly wink, making sure that I understand he's doing me a favor. Getting out of school early. Well, thank you, Mr. Nurse. That's what I'm here for, after all. I know you might not want to hear this, but I can't ignore your condition. Don't hesitate to see me if you have any further problems, or if you just have anything you want to ask. Bye. Okay, bye, nurse. It was great to see you. Haven't seen you in such a long time. He spins around and gets back to typing on his computer in front of him. I suppose I'll just read before waiting for Lily by the gate, considering I don't have much else to do. Even as I leave, his words echo in my mind. My condition isn't something as limiting as many of the others have in Yamaku. And I don't want to burden Lily with thinking about it. I would put an echoing effect in there, but I'm just too lazy, so I'll do it myself. If I just live like normally and avoid any sharp shocks. Short, sharp shocks. Yeah, you want a tongue twister? Try that. I should be okay. I won't let my condition rule me. Time passes. Lily! Great to see you again. Lily comes into view soon after the bells heralding the end of school rings out. She says farewell to a number of her classmates headed in the other direction before beginning our weekly trip to the convenience store. Afternoon, Lily. The immediate warm smile and relaxed demeanor she assumes upon noticing my presence is unexpectedly welcome. Hello, Hishio. Good afternoon to you. She hesitates for a second, but eventually decides to tilt her face forward and close her eyes. My lips meet hers with a measure of slight trepidation before we move off hand in hand. 12 minutes in. The fact that we're so close in height is somewhat useful at times. There being no need for either of us to turn our head upwards or downwards in order to meet the others. It's funny, because in the last playthrough, I had Emmy, who's the shortest out of all of them, and now I have Lily, who's the tallest. I don't know, I just find it kind of funny. It doesn't take much time to leave the noise of the other students far behind us. The tapping of Lily's cane in her free hand is the only sound to be heard. Silence. Blissful silence is all that greets us while we slowly walk in the setting sun. On the road again, and when the sun is coming up and you go, why don't you let me carry your load? Don't you know that you can have a friend all along the road? I think I'm coming to really like this town. The huge green hilly expanse, the trees everywhere, the so much rustic little buildings that Lily cannot see. So you've come to appreciate the tranquility of it as well. I think so. I came from a metropolitan city near Tokyo, so the quiet of this town really alienated me when I first arrived. After a while, it became really nice though. I think I prefer it to the hustle and bustle of my home city now. While I prefer the quiet of such a rural town even when I first arrived, I suppose I had the advantage of growing up in a quiet area before I came. Hanako said the surroundings are very pretty too. Lily may say such a thing quite easily, but each time she mentions how others describe sights around her as beautiful or pretty, I feel a little put off. I notice her expression becoming one of anticipation for some question or another. She always had a good sense of when somebody's not saying something that's on their mind, so I may as well speak up. Okay, Mom, I'm talking. You like it? I was kind of wondering, how to put this. Do you ever regret that you can't see what things look like for yourself? It's just something I've been thinking about. We're having this conversation now. She thinks carefully for a time. Do you ever regret that you can't hear people whispering on the other side of the room? I can only speak for myself, but the fact that I can't see is the only way I've experienced life. Just as I cannot do something you can't do something that I'm capable of. The fact that the world is made for those who are sighted can be a pain sometimes, but there are many, many people who suffer much more than I because of the way the world is. That does make sense, but still, it just feels kind of bad to describe something that you cannot experience, that you can't experience to you. She tilts her head quizzically, as if I just said something to make very little sense at all. But I can experience it. You just said yourself that you like the area because of the way the surroundings are. I like the area for this very same reason. Thanks to the fact that this is a small rustic town surrounded by trees, it gives some peace and quiet away from the din at school and the bustle, not to mention the smells of the city. Yeah, exactly. Even though people may be blind or deaf or mute, they can still experience life. Not exactly how other people do with all 5 of their senses, but they still experience life. It's just different to them. I mean, I experience life with my terrible eyesight. I just have better hearing. I suppose it would also be much like the house she shared with Akira as well. Her outlook on it seems pretty sensible, but I'm not surprised that she's got a much better handle on her particular condition than I do on mine. Just like how her coming from a location somewhat similar to Yamaku's surroundings let her become more, acclimatized in a shorter time. Let's just move on. Being born blind affected her stance, but her own admission. I should stop being so annoyed with myself over it, but I can't shake the feeling that I've depended on Lily so far too much, given the circumstances most have had to deal with in Yamaku. And that makes a lot of sense. You're pretty good at explaining, as always. Come to think of it, where is Hanako anyway? She wasn't with us for lunch. It seems she's busy studying. The exams are far from over, but she said she wants to do better this year than the last. While I admire her work ethic, she's really been trying to give us a lot of room alone recently. Well, duh, because she probably knows you guys been getting busy, because she's smarter than she looks. She's that type of person, I think. That kind that puts others' needs above her own at every chance. She's a sweet girl, even though so much has hurt her in the past. I don't know. I feel like it's only now when she's less close to me than ever that she's truly finding herself. It was thanks to you that she began to become more confident, after all, not me. I take my hand from hers and gently place it on her head. The important thing is that you were there for her. I can't even imagine what she'd been like without having someone like you. That much became obvious while you were in Scotland. We're all still friends, and that's what matters. So we've just got to have faith in her. I think she'll become a good person, and that much is thanks to you, because they're there for her when she most needed it. Just as you were there for me. It makes me feel a bit childish when you sound so wise. Well, you know, I try. It's what I do. Well, are you doing anything this weekend by any chance? Are you? Nothing comes to mind. Why? Then, how's about a date on Sunday? It'll be something to do besides exam preparations. Nobody wants to do that on Sunday. Considering my rapid beating heart, she simply smiles and nods. Oh, countering it. That would be lovely. Where would you like to go? Her face suddenly changes to one of disapproval. You can't do that, Hishio. That's cheating. Well, wait, what can I do? I can't let my girlfriend choose where we go? That's being gentlemanly. Woman, do what? Gentlemen should never ask a lady where to have a date. Oh, yes, he should. That's why he's being a gentleman. Oh. Her smile quickly comes back, assuring that she's far from serious. Don't worry about it. I'll think about where we can go. I'll leave it up to you then. I promise to decide on the next date, though. We'll go to the movies! Oh, wait, that wouldn't be good, would it? With our plans for the weekend made, the rest of the walk down to the hill continues in silence. The prospect of that lasting for any length of time, however, is shattered as I catch sight of a familiar figure waiting for us, her head held high. Who? Akira! Hi! Yo! What's up, Akira? Thank you, please come again. The change in temperature as I step outside of the convenience store sends a chill up my spine. It feels like summer started to wind down. But summer vacation hasn't started yet. What does that mean? Looking to my side, the same feeling seems to affect Lily as well. Though, unlike me, she does manage to hide the fact. Something I didn't realize at first was how physically, delicate she is, even compared to the likes of Lily, of Hanako. Not Lily, this is Lily! If you had to describe her, I'd have to say that she reminds me of a China doll. Akira! Akira walks up behind her and gives a couple hard pats on her shoulder, much to Lily's concertation? What's with all these words that I should know, but I can't pronounce? For a moment, she looks as envious of my status as an only child as I am in their close relationship. They talk between themselves for a few moments as I sort out my bags. Their voice is too low for me to catch, but eventually they break off and we begin to walk back to school. Talking, having secrets, well, that's what siblings do. It feels good to be out of that damned office. You kids don't know how good you have it here. Kids? Tish! You two? That kids grow up so fast nowadays. You're not old enough to say that. I don't know. Having around Hideki makes me feel damn old. He's so precious. He reminds me of you when you were younger. He's a nice boy. It would be a shame if Shizune comes to have too much of an influence on him. That it would. I don't think he could take that. I don't think we could take him being a sarcastic genius and also a dominant body. Whatever Shizune is. Akira gives an amused snort as at her sister's empathy. She really doesn't seem to regard it as anything to make a serious fuss about, teasing it more like a childhood spat. She looks over to me, apparently only just remembering that I'm here, and gives a small grin as she reaches toward her back pocket. What is it? Just a sec, let me dig it out. Ooh, presents! What kind of presents are we gonna get? After quite some difficulty, she managed to retrieve her black leather wallet from her back pocket, quickly fishing out what looks like a folded square of paper. Oh, you're bringing that. What, you don't think I can get these things for myself? I'm perfectly capable of buying these things for myself. With Lily, but unaware of what's happening, Akira unfolds the scrap and hands it to me. Oh, okay, it's a picture. I thought she was giving us a condom. I'm sorry. An old photo of what looks like to be a younger Lily and Shizune operating a noodle stall with some other girl in the background. Who the flippity fragadook is that? What is brown hair? Brown eyes? What is this? This is Matrix? Twilight Zone? Lily looks happy though. Shizune looks, well, like Shizune. She looks vaguely familiar, but I can't quite pinpoint why. Who is this woman? What is it, Akira? I think you know. Lily mulls this over for a few moments before realization dawns on her. Akira, you really need it. It's fine, isn't it? It's fine, isn't it? Besides, it's like the only photo I have of you two since you entered Yamaku, where you're not at each other's throats. I look back down on the photo in my hand. It does seem strange to see Lily and Shizune working together so diligently without any sign of animosity. If the photos of them during Yamaku's festival, that means it must have been taken 1 or 2 years ago. In other words, the time when they were both in the student council. Together. Who's the girl in the back addressing the elephant in the room? She looks familiar. Ha! I knew you wouldn't recognize her. It's me. It's Misha! What? That's Misha, but she got brown hair, and it ain't in drills. It ain't pink drill hair. It ain't pink drill hair. Before she went and dyed her hair pink. Okay. So, that's Misha. No way. I feel extremely strange to see Misha without her very distinct hairstyle. Judging from Akira's tone, she doesn't take favorably to Misha's idea of fashion. I suppose the fact that attenuates how odd the situation looks to think that they were so friendly in the past. I wish I could do the same to mend. I wish I could do something to mend the relationship. Don't get into girl politics, dude. It's like a black hole. Nothing escapes. You're being very quiet, Hishio. It just kind of feels strange to see you all so friendly like this. Lily moves to say something, but stops herself. In the end, it isn't a matter for me. It's between Shizune and Lily. Nobody else. Things change, unfortunately. I hand the photo back to Akira, who sighs, and she folds it up and slides it back into her wallet. A little memory, quietly hidden away, to be pulled out again sometime later. Yeah, that they do. Intently, initially, I can actually get words sometimes. I think Akira's reaction to be simply in response to the situation between Lily and Shizune, but she looks oddly glum compared to what I expect. Lily's expression is clouded as well. What's wrong? What's going on? It's just that I'll be going to Scotland fairly soon. You're leaving for Scotland again? Oh, I could go! Akira, you're so cool. For a long moment, Akira looks surprised. It's an ill-fated expression for her. After I glance at Lily, she turns back to me as if she's never done so. Yeah, in a couple of weeks, I'll be leaving for Avernus to work at the company's headquarters. It's a pretty big jump in corporate position, and it's not a chance that's going to come again. So Akira is going to leave Japan on what seemed to be a permanent basis. I can't help but feeling like my assumption that we could all happily while away our days having fun in this isolated little world is coming to an end. It's unsettling. Why do people gotta leave, man? I look at Lily, mildly surprised that she hasn't told me such a thing despite usually being so forthcoming. She continues to walk with her face fixed pointed ahead. I can't read her expression, nor can I even guess what's on her mind, which is discomforting given how it's usually easy for me to do both. It reminds me of the time when we met at the Shanghai, just before we could be, I guess, just before what could be called our first date. Why am I having trouble with sentences? At the time, all I could do was comfort her without knowing the cause. But now it feels different. It feels no different. We finally reached the school dormitories once again. It's all somewhat There's an all somewhat awkward silence. I don't think I'm the only one who feels it. Somebody say something! See you tomorrow then, Lily. Bye, Akira. Good night, Hishio. See ya! She does the whole thing. And with that, they walk to the female dormitories. Opening the door to the male dormitories, I stop and look back at them just moments before their figures disappear behind the heavy wooden door. There was a strange moment when Akira said she was leaving. While it wasn't the first time when my thoughts regarding a new life had been called into question, it's perhaps the first time to do it quite so profoundly. I still don't know what to make of Akira's reaction, much less Lily's. The night's chill reminds me to get back into my room before I catch something. My bag's pulling down on my arms with seemingly redoubled weight. If nothing else, I have a date with her set up for the weekend. I just need to stop overthinking stuff and get on with things as they are. The exams are still ongoing after all. And with the trimester's end and the summer's holidays beginning soon, there'll be plenty to keep me busy for a while. As I give a yawn and retreat inside, I get the feeling that this scene is going to end soon. That's why I'm talking like this. The thoughts turn to what Lily will decide to set as the location for our weekend rendezvous. And there it is, finally. And with that, guys, the episode will end here. Alrighty, how much more do we have in this? I don't know. Ooh! Fancy schmancy talk! Ooh, I can't wait till the next episode now. Hopefully you do the same. Like and favorite if you've enjoyed, subscribe, of course. I will see you guys next time. I'm out there in YouTube land. I will see you then. Keep moving forward, be a nice person, and tip your waitresses.